So here you can see we have our gutted kitchen here. There's our big pass-through window. And we've raised the ceiling and put these nice disc lights in, so it looks really nice and classy and modern in here. So you can see what a disaster this kitchen was before. So this is the wall here that we're facing here, see? So it's all empty now, but what we had before was we had that old style fluorescent lighting plastic grandma ceiling, the suspended ceiling that was down too low. And we just had a flat cabinet that went straight across to the window there. And if you look now, you can see it's gone. And you can still see the outline of the old cabinet there, right? And that suspended ceiling only came up to right here. So they basically had less than a 7-foot ceiling in here. The problem is, if you look at our new design here, let me show you that. This is our new design right here. And you can see we've got a corner cabinet is going to be going in here in the upper, right where I just showed you up here in this corner. There's going to be a corner cabinet there. Problem is, as you can see, we've only got 13 3/4 inches to the window, but this corner cabinet requires, I believe, about 24-25 inches. So if you look at the plans I have here, there's the corner cabinet right there, and it's 24 inches, plus you want to leave an inch for the extra for the drywall and for any kind of margin. So when you go to pull this guy out here, so here now is the drawing. This is the window we're standing in front of, and you can see you're going to need a lot more meat now. You're going to need that 24 inches plus, see that little sliver there? That's about an inch of drywall. So we have to take this window and we have to shrink it down from wider to a little bit skinnier. That means if this is only 13 3/4 here from the wall to the left side of the window, and I've marked up here where it needs to be in order to accommodate that corner cabinet, needs to be 25 inches from the wall from there. So that means we have to stick this guy out approximately 12 inches or so. So that means you're going to see we have to extend the wall to make it come to here. We're going to lose about a foot off of this window now. And it should still be okay because that's way off in the corner anyway. The sink will be way over here. So if we lose another 12 inches, that's not a deal breaker. That's fine. So how are we going to accommodate this? How do we make this happen? Well, it just so happens I have some 2x12 wood, so I can get a 12-inch wide piece of wood and go here and make it go straight up. And the great thing about that is we can just, anywhere we want, we can nail the drywall onto it all the way up. We don't have to worry about missing studs or anything like that. And we'll do the same thing on this surface and the same thing on the back surface. So we'll just make a wood frame that goes all the way up. What we'll probably have to do is remove this drywall piece right here, because I want to take another piece of 2x4 like you see here and anchor it into the cement. This is a cement block wall right here as part of the kitchen pass-through window. So the drywall will come off, we'll put another cement block wall on, and then we can start attaching some blocks going down it that we can nail our 2x12 into, going straight up here like this. And we just have to make sure that we offset everything so that our board comes in about a 1/2 inch here to accommodate the thickness of our drywall, so that our drywall will end up flush with this wall and you'll never know the difference. Alright, so we're starting to peel off some of this drywall here. It pretty much comes off in one piece. We'll just get rid of these screws here. So you can see our goal now is to get a piece of wood like right here next to this one, 2x4, that will just span from the bottom here, and it will go all the way up to the top, right up there, right like the other one does. And that will provide a good surface for us to start blocking from the inside of this cavity here to be able to put our 2x12s that will go right along here. Alright, so we came out onto the bench here, and we decided to just let's hook the pieces together. So we did some blocking here and connected our side piece here to our 2x12 piece here. And now we're going to just hook the whole thing up to the wall at once, and there's the back side of our pilot holes that we will run our Tapcon screws through. So let's go hook that up right now. Alright, so we've started to anchor into the cement. There's our first anchor there. We have another one down there. And you can see here, one thing that worked out nicely for us is, since we are going to keep this wooden base here as a sub counter for underneath the counter, they're going to have granite come up here later. We decided we can nail this little piece of block here, and this will act as another brace at the bottom here for us. Because it's important too, and let me show you this. It's important that the wall is as flat as you can make it. So you can see how when you come along from the corner all the way over here to this new 2x12 that I put here, it's nice and flat up against it, so we have a nice straight wall all the way across. If we had made it twisted out like that, you know, you'd have a hard time tiling this thing. So that's why you really have to maintain all three planes, X, Y, and Z, when you're adding these things to the wall. So it has to be also vertical in this direction here. So that's pretty good. That's right on center. And if I can get it straight on this edge, we'll see how it looks. On this edge here, we're pretty center as well. So you can see I got it on all three planes. That's called level, plumb, and true. Because believe me, the eye can see it, and if it doesn't, then when you put a cabinet up against it, if it's not straight, people will notice it. And that's all you got to worry about there. Keeping it straight. This would be a perfect time, if you haven't already, to hit the subscribe button down below. And once you hit that subscribe button, you'll see that little gray bell. Click on that, and that will alert you to every time we put a new video, so that you'll never miss a video. And also, if you like our video here, you can click on the thumbs up button down below. That lets us know that you like us. And any questions you have, please enter them in the comments down below too. Okay, so you can see what we're doing now is we've added the side piece. It's just a standard 2x4, but you can see how sometimes you get some bent wood, so we will have to force him into place up top before we screw him in. Well, we finally have the box out completed. We stuck the 2x4 in here, and it was just the perfect spacing for us. But as you notice, as we get up closer to the top, because the board is sort of warped, we had to stick a shim in there to make sure that this surface of here, the front surface here of this board, would be perfectly plumb, and that it would also hold our drywall. When we go to put our drywall, it'll fit up in this crack and everything and be nice and lined up right. So that's why we did that. And one thing we noticed here, if you look here at the bottom, start looking at the bottom and go all the way up here, you can see that the builder did a bad job at framing out this window originally. Look how it's leaning back to the right. They're way off. They're like 3/4 of an inch up top and 1/4 of an inch down at the bottom. So we're leaving that gap there because we have to have a straight vertical edge here. Right? So I don't know if you can see it. Let me try to get the level right up in there on theirs. I don't even know if you can see it or not. But yeah, their bubble is way off. But if you bring the bubble over to my edge, this edge is the one that has to be perfect. So it's level. It's level, plumb, and true. And then if you look on this edge, you can also see I'm level there as well. So that sometimes happens with wood, but at least we know that the edge here that's going to receive our drywall here is going to look pretty nice and straight and perfect 90-degree corner. And then as you look back up here, don't worry too much about this gap because that'll all get covered by the drywall. We'll just have to nail back a little bit. And we're going to put some pieces of wood in here too. I'll wedge in some wood and we'll put in PL adhesive along with it, so when everything dries it'll be rock solid. It won't move anywhere. So here I like to, when I make my little wood biscuits here, I like to just put a little bit of PL on both sides. Alright, so then I'll take my glued piece here, I'll kind of stick it in there where I can get it up high, and I'll slide it back down to where it wedges into place. And it'll be glued in nice and solid. Just make sure it's pushed back slightly from the front edge so it doesn't interfere with the drywall when you go to put it on there. And this will be a great fastened surface by the time you're done. Here you can see we have the first piece of drywall hanging there. It's just hanging by one screw right now, so we'll begin screwing it all in. And we've left the open area here at the bottom to put the dense shield tile backer board there. Now as we look at the wall above the window, you can see there's our 90-inch mark. That's where the height of the cabinets will be. Problem is it's only 10 inches down to here, and our sideways cabinets that are going to be going across here are 12 inches. So we have to beef this up and add another 2 inches of drywall down here. And we're going to do that by adding more board. So we'll have to take down this piece of drywall right here underneath first. Alright, now the second part of our project here is we have to lower the top by 2 inches. So we're going to accomplish that with this board here. This is a 2x10 that we cut down to fit the width of our window here. And you can see we've already got it loaded up with our PL adhesive on there. That's our construction adhesive. So this thing's ready to go. So you got it at 1.5 inches there on that board. And then you got about almost a 1/2 inch there on the little spacer board that we screwed up there and glued it up there last night. And then by the time you add the drywall onto the bottom of this board, once it's mounted, you will now have a window opening that's right around 2 inches or more below the top of what it was before. And of course with this, I'm going to be using the deck mate screws here, and I like these because these are very aggressive. They'll go right through the wood pretty good. And there's your star bit, and I much prefer star bit over Phillips head. It's just so hard to do any kind of structural work here with Phillips head screws because they always want to strip out. And here you can see we've got the star bit in there, so these will never slip out. I don't think I've ever seen a star bit slip out on us. So let's get started and get this puppy hanging. Yeah, so these two screws just went in like butter. And so I'm glad that we do this. We do the PL adhesive along the top in there between the wood surfaces because it really will add onto the whatever screws we're going to put in here, probably a dozen or so. It'll add on to that and make it look like we put in 1,000 screws. That's how tough this stuff is once it dries. Glue it and screw it. That's what we always say. Alright, so you can see we have this corner here of the two sections of the wall. And we've already got one piece of the steel corner bead put up here. It's not all screwed in yet, but I just wanted to show you what it looks like when it's put into place. And when you attach the screws, and we'll show you in a minute, you want to do it so that it slightly indents the metal a little bit so that it's below the surface. Okay. And then another thing I do is I always take my taping knife and put it like this against the wall. See how you can see that little bit of light peeking through there? You're supposed to see a space there. Let me get it right over there. See. And some people think, well, no, why shouldn't it be flat against the wall? No, it shouldn't. You should see that space there because you have to mud from here and to feather out, right? You're going to be feathering out with the mud. So it needs somewhere to go. So unless you see that space there, that means you don't have a well, a little valley area to hold any of that mud. And it should be the same on both sides too, see? So you should see the light coming through on both sides. And I usually check it, 3 or 4 places going up the wall to make sure. Coming over to this corner, let me show you something here too. When you're putting up the corner bead, some people will measure and then mark on the corner bead and then cut. But all I do is I just get the piece that I'm going to cut and I eyeball it. You just mark it right where the bottom is. You don't have to measure and take the chance that maybe you make a mistake or something. If you can see where it needs to stop, you just mark it right there and then make your cut. So that's what we're going to do now. We'll make our cut. So this is how we make the cut. We use these tin snips. Some people also refer to these as aviator snips. And what we do is, these are the yellow handle. The yellow handle is cut straight. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to cut these straight, one side and then the other. I'll show you. Alright, so I've got them right where the cut is, and you just very easily snip one side. And now we're going to flip over and snip the other side at the exact same spot. Alright, so here we are on the other side. And you just make your cut there. Now you're going to be left with this little stub. And you just go rock it back and forth a couple of times. And it just pops right off. Boom, just like that. So now your piece is cut. And it's very simple to cut. See how you just push it in just a little bit there, just enough to get it below the surface. And then you want to check level. So you pull out your spirit level, put it up there, and there you are, nice and level. And you check both directions too. See? So there you have it. So now we just have to work on the mudding. I just wanted to point out something else too. Notice how I put both of my screws at the same height. It keeps it stable. It keeps one end from pulling the other end out. So if I just put this screw in and didn't put this other one in, this end tends to want to pull out. So you always put them at the same spot, one on either side. See, like that. I just wanted to point out one other thing too, and that is to make sure whenever you have one corner changing direction into another corner like this, make sure they both line up. They should be right at the same level there. So it looks like one continuous curve. You know, it should look like one continuous 90-degree turn. Okay, you can see we're mudding here now. I'm just going to show you in a little spot here. This is what I do. I normally put it sideways like that with my small trowel or my taping knife. Then I like to use the bigger knife. Some people like to use the smaller one and just go down the road here. I like to do the bigger one because it's more, it's kind of goes side like that. It's more stable. See that? It gives you, I think it gives you a little smoother run the first time through, and then you just even it down. So here is our finished kitchen, and as you can see, we made a good call here by reducing the size of that pass-through window a little bit by building this extra box out to fill in that extra 12 inches that we needed there in order to be able to fit this corner cabinet. So right now we are the only condo unit in this whole complex that has a corner unit here. All the others that remodel their kitchens because they don't know what to do with it. They don't know how to handle the fact that there's only a 12-inch stub wall back there. All they do is just have a single wall of flat cabinets there. So by building out this box out here and being able to add this beautiful corner cabinet, it actually it gives a good 3D dimension to the kitchen here. It adds some shape and character to it. And then by coming down a little bit, remember we built it down about 2 inches or so on the upper part of the window here. This enabled us to put one more cabinet here in it. If any of you have ever lived in a condominium before, you know that storage is at a premium. I mean, anywhere you can fit something to store. And that's what we did right there. So as we kind of back up here and take a look, you can see we didn't really compromise the integrity of the window at all. And in fact, you can still see plenty through all the way out there to beyond. And if you remember, we had that flat yellow kitchen counter, and we built that up well, with another box out right here, and then had granite made and had the granite installed right over in here too. So this came out really, really nice. We were very pleased with this. Everybody that comes in here to look at this is just blown away by the beauty of it. And remember, there used to be a suspended ceiling here that came right here. It was barely 7 feet off the ground, you know. And all of the other people in here that remodel, they still keep their suspended ceiling. So they have a plastic ceiling that ends right here at the bottom of this thing, which is why they can't fit the cabinets that we have. And that's why the other units also don't have the taller cabinets that we have. So the taller cabinets actually make your kitchen look taller, even though that's an 8-foot ceiling there. And then up here in the ceiling, we added these LED puck lights here. And they're actually called wafer lights, LED wafer lights, because we had to build the drywall up so close to the cement slab that they're mounted onto 2x4s. So you only have an 1.5 inch gap up above that drywall. So we had to just run the wires right to the hole there, cut the hole, and you stick these LED wafer lights that are only a 1/2 inch thick up there. So everything came out really nice here. We're very pleased with this. And here is the outside view in the patio of our box out. So you can see here, what we did was we put stucco on this part of it here in an attempt to make it blend in with the existing white stucco that was already out here. And we also added stucco along the top there. That was where we had to build down a couple of inches in order to be able to fit the cabinet. You can see the bottom side of the cabinet there. And then, of course, over on the left-hand side here, we had just about 2 inches, not even 2 inches here, where we did a little more stucco to make it blend in with the existing wall out here. And then, of course, the side wall here, we did marble. Here's our granite countertop. And then here's the other side of the box out. So you remember, this was the main portion of the box out here, where we had to build out this window. This was the original size of the opening of this window here. So if we look here, so originally the window went from here on the right to here on the left. All right, and so we had to box this out just to make the window a little smaller, this pass-through window, in order for us to get this corner cabinet here to fit, to reach from that back wall over here, because that required 24 inches. And I believe we only had something like 12 inches of wall stub before. So this looks reasonably nice. Well, if you found this video useful, we would appreciate it if you give us a thumbs up down below. Just click on that thumbs up icon there. That gives us an upvote. And if this is your first time here on the channel and you haven't subscribed yet, hey, this would be a great time for you to click on that subscribe button down below. This way you can come back here and binge watch all sorts of engineering videos that we create for you to help you solve all sorts of remodeling problems around your house. And when you click on the subscribe button, be sure to hit that gray bell icon next to it. That will alert you every single time we upload a video, so you'll never miss one. So anyway, that's it for this week, folks. We'll see you next week on the next video, and you have a really great week.